chosen spirit of light. Listen to my words with all of your being before you scroll past this. I need you to know something that will change how you see your entire existence. 3 hours ago, a man you have never met sat down at his kitchen table and wrote a list. Not a grocery list, not a to-do list. A list of names, 7 names, to be exact. And every single name on that list belongs to someone whose life you changed without ever knowing you did it. You have no memory of most of these encounters. Some were 30 seconds long, some were just eye contact across a room, but each one created a ripple that is still moving through the universe. And this man, who was hired to watch you for 3 weeks, could not complete his assignment because what he discovered was not information. It was evidence of something that should not be possible. Evidence that you are operating in an assignment you never applied for. Let me explain what has been happening behind the scenes of your life. Someone from your past, someone who once had full access to you, made a decision that violates every boundary. They hired a private investigator. But before you assume this is about suspicion or paranoia, you need to understand the real reason. It was not because they thought you were doing something wrong. It was because they saw you doing something right, and it killed them. 6 weeks ago, this person was in a coffee shop. Your coffee shop, the one you go to every Tuesday morning. They were not there to see you. They did not even know you went there. It was pure coincidence. Or maybe it was divine setup. They were sitting in the corner, scrolling through their phone, drowning in their own misery, when they looked up and they saw you. Not just saw you. They saw you interacting with the barista. They saw you smile at her. Really smile. Not the customer service smile. The kind of smile that sees people. And they watched as you asked her a question. They could not hear the words from where they were sitting, but they saw her face change. They saw her eyes get glassy. They saw her mouth the words, "Thank you," as you walked away with your coffee. Something about that moment triggered this person, not in a good way, in a way that opened a wound they had spent years trying to pretend did not exist, because they used to be like you. They used to notice people. They used to be the person who made strangers feel seen. But somewhere along the way, bitterness took root. Pain built walls. Disappointment turned them inward. And watching you be what they used to be before life hardened them was too much to handle. So they did not reach out to you like a normal person would. They did not send a message saying, "Hey, I miss who I was when I was around you." Instead, they hired someone to document who you have become without them. The investigator they hired, let us call him David. He started his surveillance, expecting a standard 3-week job. Follow the target. Document routines, report findings, get paid, move on. But by day 4, David realized this was not a standard job, because everywhere you went, things happened. Not big things, small things, things most people would not even notice. But David was trained to notice everything, and what he noticed was that you have a gravity. Not physical gravity, spiritual gravity. You pull things into your orbit without trying, and those things, those people, they do not leave the same way they came in. If you are feeling something stirring in your chest right now, do me a favor and drop the word ripple in the comments. Because what I am about to tell you is going to explain so much about why your life has felt the way it has felt. On day 6 of the surveillance, David did something he had never done in 20 years of this work. He started interviewing people, not official interviews, casual conversations. He wanted to understand what was happening, so he went back to that coffee shop. He talked to the barista you smiled at. Her name is Elena. She is 23. She has been working at that coffee shop for 2 years, and she told David that before you asked her that question, she was planning to quit that week. Not just quit the job, quit life. She had been battling depression for 6 months. Every customer blurred together. Every day felt like punishment. But on that Tuesday morning, you looked at her like she was a human being, not a service robot. And you asked her one question. "Are you okay?" 3 words. That is all you said. Elena told David that she laughed it off, made a joke, deflected. But when she went home that night, she could not stop thinking about the fact that a stranger saw through her mask, that someone noticed. And it made her feel like maybe, just maybe, if one person could see her, then maybe she was not as invisible as she felt. She called her mum that night. For the first time in 3 months, she told her she needed help. She started therapy 2 weeks later. She is still alive because you asked if she was okay, and you do not even remember doing it. David wrote her name down. Witness 1, Elena Rodriguez. Life redirected by 3 words. On day 8, David followed you to a grocery store. He watched you interact with an elderly man in the produce section. The man dropped his cane. You picked it up, but you did not just hand it back to him. You asked if he needed help finding anything. He said no. But then he changed his mind. He said yes. Actually, he was looking for ingredients to make his wife's favorite soup. She passed away 4 months ago, and he was trying to recreate it from memory. You spent 12 minutes in that grocery store aisle, helping this man find ingredients for a soup that would never taste exactly like his wife's version. But it was not about the soup. It was about the fact that you treated his grief like it mattered. David found that man 3 days later. His name is Robert, 78 years old, Korean War veteran, lost his wife of 53 years to cancer. He told David that after you left, he went home and made that soup. And while it was cooking, he did something he had not done since the funeral. He cried, not the angry tears, not the numb tears, the healing tears. The ones that mean you are finally processing instead of avoiding. He said you gave him permission to remember her out loud instead of keeping her in silence. You were just being kind to an old man in a grocery store. He experienced a breakthrough in his grief journey, and you do not even remember him. David wrote his name down. Witness 2, Robert Chen. Healing accelerated by 12 minutes of presence. Hit that like button right now if you have ever wondered whether the small things you do actually matter. Because what I am about to reveal will blow your mind. On day 10, David watched you at a park. You were sitting on a bench reading. A woman jogging past you tripped and fell. Not a dramatic fall, just enough to scrape her knee and bruise her pride. Most people would have looked, made sure she was okay, and gone back to their book. You did not do that. You got up, walked over, and sat down next to her on the grass while she caught her breath. You did not make a big deal out of it. You just sat there present. And after a minute, she started talking about how she was training for her first marathon, about how her husband said she could not do it because she was not athletic, about how every time she fell, literally or metaphorically, his voice played in her head saying, "I told you so." You said something to her that David could not hear from his position, but he saw her face. He saw the moment it landed, and when she got up and continued her run, something in her stride was different. David talked to her 5 days later. Her name is Michelle, 37, high school teacher, stuck in a marriage that feels more like a prison than a partnership. She told David that what you said to her was, falling does not mean you are not a runner. It means you are brave enough to run. She said those words have played in her head every day since. She finished her marathon last week, and when she crossed that finish line, she made a decision. She is filing for divorce, not because she is giving up on love, because she is finally choosing herself. You were just being kind to a stranger who fell. She got the courage to change her life, and you do not even know her name. David wrote her name down. Witness 3, Michelle Torres. Future reclaimed by one sentence. On day 12, David observed you in a library. You were returning books. A teenage boy was sitting at a table nearby, staring at a college application with tears streaming down his face. You hesitated. David saw the hesitation. You were not sure if you should say something or mind your business, but then you walked over. You asked if he was okay. He said he was fine. You said okay and started to walk away. But then you turned back. You said, whatever you are wrestling with right now, it does not define your future. You get to write the next chapter. Then you left. The whole interaction was maybe 45 seconds. David found that kid a week later. His name is Jason. 17. First-generation college student. Parents cannot afford tuition. Knows he is smart enough, but does not see a path forward. He told David that the morning before he saw you, he had decided college was not for him. He was not going to bother applying. But something about what you said, a complete stranger who had no reason to care about his future, it made him think maybe someone saw something in him he could not see in himself. He submitted 7 applications that week. He got accepted to 4 schools. 2 offered full scholarships. He starts this fall. Pre-med. He wants to be a doctor. You were just kind to a crying kid in a library. You may have just changed the trajectory of his entire bloodline, and you do not even remember his face. David wrote his name down. Witness 4, Jason Reyes. Destiny unlocked by 45 seconds of courage. Are you starting to see it? Are you starting to understand what you have been doing without knowing you were doing it? Drop the words divine assignment in the comments if this is landing with you. On day 14, David watched you at a gas station. You were filling up your tank. A single mother was at the pump next to you, on her phone, clearly stressed. Her toddler was screaming in the back seat. She was yelling into the phone about something falling through. When she hung up, she looked defeated. You did not say anything. You just finished filling up your tank, walked over, and handed her a $20 bill. She tried to refuse. You insisted. You said, "Bad days do not last forever. Tomorrow will be better." Then you left before she could argue. David talked to her the next day. Her name is Shanice, 29, working 2 jobs. In school at night, raising a 4-year-old alone, barely making rent. The phone call you overheard was her childcare falling through for the 3rd time that month. She was about to lose her night shift job because she had no one to watch her daughter. The $20 you gave her was not enough to solve the problem, but it was enough to pay for a sitter that night so she did not lose the job. She kept the job. She finished the semester. She graduated 2 weeks ago with her nursing degree. She starts her first nursing job next month, which triples her income. Her daughter will grow up watching her mother refuse to quit. You handed a stranger $20 at a gas station. You may have just broken a generational poverty cycle, and you will never know. David wrote her name down. Witness 5, Shanice Washington. Future stabilized by $20 and 8 words. On day 16, David watched you at a post office. You were in line behind a man who was arguing with the clerk, not yelling but firm, insistent, clearly frustrated. When he finally walked away without mailing his package, you stepped up to the counter, and instead of just doing your business, you asked the clerk if she was okay. She looked shocked, like no one had ever asked her that after a difficult customer. She said she was fine, but her voice cracked. You did not push. You just said, people do not see you, but I do. And you are doing a great job. Then you finished your transaction and left. David talked to that clerk 4 days later. Her name is Patricia, 52, been working at the post office for 18 years, feels invisible, goes home every day feeling like a robot. Her daughter stopped speaking to her 3 years ago over an argument she does not even remember the details of. She told David that after you said those words, she sat in her car during lunch break and cried because she realized she had been sleepwalking through her own life. She reached out to her daughter that evening, left a voicemail saying, I do not need you to forgive me. I just need you to know I see what I did wrong, and I am sorry. Her daughter called back 2 days later. They met for coffee last week. For the first time in 3 years, they are rebuilding. You were kind to an exhausted postal worker. You may have just restored a mother-daughter relationship, and you have no idea she exists. David wrote her name down. Witness 6, Patricia Owens. Relationship restored by 13 words. On day 19, David watched you at a car wash. There was a homeless man asking people for change. Most people ignored him. Some were rude. You stopped. You did not have cash, but you asked his name. He said, Marcus. You said, nice to meet you, Marcus. I am sorry, I do not have anything on me right now, but I am going to remember you. And you did something David had never seen anyone do. You shook his hand, like he was a person, like his dignity mattered, like his homelessness was not his entire identity. Then you left. The whole exchange was maybe 20 seconds. David, who shares the same name as that homeless man, went back the next day to talk to him. The homeless Marcus told investigator David that after you shook his hand, he looked at his own hand for a long time because no one had touched him in kindness in 2 years. No handshakes, no hugs, just avoidance. And something about the way you treated him like he was human made him remember. He used to be. He went to a shelter that night instead of sleeping under the bridge. He is in a 90-day program now, day 23. Still sober. He said he does not know if he will make it, but he is trying because you reminded him he was worth trying for. You shook a homeless man's hand and said his name. You may have just saved his life, and you did not even give him money. David wrote his name down. Witness 7, Marcus Johnson. Hope reignited by a 20-second interaction. Now, here is where it all comes together. After 3 weeks of surveillance, David had a decision to make. He had pages of notes about where you went, what you did, who you talked to. But none of it was what his client wanted. His client wanted dirt, wanted proof of something wrong, wanted evidence that you were not as good as you appeared. What David found instead was proof that you are better than you know. So he made a choice. He wrote one final report, but he did not send it to his client. He sent it to God, not literally, but spiritually. He went to a church he had not stepped foot in since he was a child. He sat in an empty pew, and he prayed for the first time in 30 years. He said, God, I do not know if you are listening, but I just spent 3 weeks watching someone who I think is doing your work without knowing it, and I need to know what I'm supposed to do with this information. He did not hear an audible voice, but he felt something, a knowing, a conviction. He deleted every file. He called his client and said, the surveillance is over. I am not sending you a report. What I found is not information you have a right to access. This person is under protection beyond what you can understand. Then he quit the job, refused payment, and for the first time in his career, he felt clean. Share this video right now with someone who has ever felt like their small acts of kindness do not matter. They need to hear this. Now let me tell you about your employer, the person who hired David, because understanding their story will help you navigate what is coming next. This person used to be like you. Not exactly like you, but close. They used to be the person who noticed people, who showed up, who made strangers feel seen. But life did not go the way they planned. They experienced rejection, betrayal, loss, and instead of processing it, they buried it. Instead of healing, they hardened. Instead of staying open, they closed off. And slowly, imperceptibly, they became someone they swore they would never be: cynical, guarded, cold. They did not realize how much they had changed until they saw you in that coffee shop 6 weeks ago. Watching you smile at that barista like her feelings mattered. It was like looking in a mirror that showed them who they used to be, and it hurt. Not the kind of hurt that heals. The kind of hurt that exposes. They saw in you what they lost in themselves. And instead of using that as motivation to change, they used it as justification to investigate. Because if they could find something wrong with you, something fake, something performative, then they could convince themselves that no one is really good, that everyone is just pretending, that their own hardness is actually wisdom. But David's refusal to give them what they wanted has created a crisis, because now they have to face the truth. You are not pretending. Your kindness is not a strategy. Your awareness of others is not manipulation. You are just being who you are. And that means their cynicism is not protection. It is prison. And the key to their cell is the same key to yours: forgiveness, release, surrender. The willingness to let go of the story they have been telling themselves about why it is safer to stay closed. They are going to reach out to you soon. Not through an apology, not yet. They are not there yet. They are going to reach out through a question, something like, "Can we talk?" Or, "I have been thinking about you," or "I saw something that reminded me of you," and your instinct will be to respond immediately, "Do not." Let there be space. Let there be time. Let them sit in the discomfort of their own conviction. Because what they need is not your absolution. What they need is their own reckoning. And you cannot give them that. Only God can. If you are still watching this, you are one of the ones who gets it. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel right now, because there is more coming that you need to hear. Here is what I need you to understand about your assignment. You did not sign up for it. You did not apply. You did not get a job description or a training manual. But you are on it nonetheless. Every day you wake up and you go into the world carrying something that most people have lost. The ability to see people not through them, not past them, but actually see them. And that sight, that attention, that presence, it creates ripples you will never trace. Elena is alive, Robert is healing, Michelle is free, Jason is going to college, Shanice broke a cycle, Patricia is reconciling with her daughter, Marcus is sober. 7 lives, 3 weeks, and you do not remember any of it. That is the nature of divine assignment. You do not always know when you are on the clock. You do not always see the results. You do not always get the testimony. Most of the time, you plant seeds you will never see grow. You speak words you will never know landed. You show up in moments you will never know mattered, but they do. God sees everyone. Heaven records every act of love given without expectation of return. And one day, not here, But there, you will see the full picture. You will see every ripple, every life touched, every chain broken, every heart healed, and you will understand that nothing was wasted. No smile was insignificant, no kind word was small. It all counted, every single moment. Now let me give you some guidance for the coming weeks. First, do not let this revelation make you self-conscious. Do not start performing kindness instead of being kind. Do not start calculating impact instead of just showing up. The moment you try to force ripples, you create waves that crash instead of heal. Stay natural, stay present, stay you. Second, do not feel pressure to do more now that you know you have been doing enough. You have always been doing enough. This is not a call to do more. This is confirmation that what you have been doing matters. Third, when the person who hired David reaches out, and they will, remember this. They did not violate your boundary because they are evil. They violated it because they are lost, and lost people do desperate things to avoid facing their own pain. You can have compassion for their lostness without accepting their violation. You can understand their pain without taking responsibility for their healing. You can acknowledge that they need help without being the one who provides it. Boundaries and compassion can coexist. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Fourth, pay attention to who shows up differently around you in the next month. Some people are going to start acting strange, not hostile, not distant, just different. Like they see something in you they did not see before. That is because the enemy is losing his grip on the narrative that you are ordinary. The assignment is becoming visible, and people who are spiritually sensitive are going to feel it even if they cannot name it. Do not be alarmed. This is confirmation, not attack. Fifth, write down the names of people you have prayed for without them knowing. Not to keep track, but to release them. Say out loud, I release so-and-so to God. I trust that my prayers are working even when I cannot see how. This creates closure for your soul and keeps you from carrying what only God is strong enough to hold. Before we pray, I want to address something that has been heavy on my spirit this entire message. Some of you watching this have been feeling invisible for years. You show up, you love people, you give generously, and you watch others get celebrated while your contributions go unnoticed. This message is for you specifically. You are not invisible, you are underground. There is a difference. Seeds look dead when they are buried, but they are actually doing their most important work beneath the surface. They are taking root. They are drawing nutrients. They are preparing for the breakthrough that will shock everyone who thought nothing was happening. You are not being overlooked. You are being established. And when your season of emergence comes, and it is coming soon, everyone who dismissed you will have to reckon with the fact that God was hiding you, not forgetting you. Now, let us pray. And if you can, say this out loud with me. Let your voice carry authority. Let your faith rise up. Let heaven hear you agree with what is already true. Father, I thank you for the person hearing these words right now. Thank you that they are not random. Thank you that they are chosen. Thank you that they carry an assignment, whether they feel qualified or not. Thank you that you have been using them in ways they cannot see. Thank you for every life touched, every heart healed, every chain broken through their obedience to just be themselves. God, I pray for divine alignment in the coming weeks. Connect them with every person they are meant to impact. Remove every distraction that would pull them off course. Give them supernatural sensitivity to know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to help and when to walk away. when to stay and when to leave. Let your voice be the loudest voice they hear. I pray for the person who violated their boundary. Lord, meet that person in their brokenness. Show them what they have become and who they used to be. Give them the courage to face their own pain instead of projecting it onto others. And if reconciliation is your will, prepare both hearts for it. But if separation is your protection, give them both peace with that outcome. I pray for the 7 witnesses, for Elena, that her healing continues, for Robert, that his grief transforms into gratitude, for Michelle, that her courage leads her to the love she deserves, for Jason, that his education opens doors his parents never dreamed of, for Shanice, that her degree breaks every limitation placed on her daughter's future, for Patricia, that her relationship with her daughter deepens with every conversation, for Marcus, that his sobriety becomes the foundation of a completely new life. Let every seed planted grow into a forest that provides shade for generations to come. I declare that the chosen one hearing this is entering a season of visibility. What was hidden will be seen. What was underground will break through. What was dismissed will be celebrated. What was overlooked will be promoted. Not because they are better than others, but because their time has come. The preparation is complete. The training is over. The assignment is expanding, and heaven is about to show them what they were really preparing for all along. We seal this in the name of Jesus, not with uncertainty, but with full assurance, not with fear, but with expectation. It is already done. Amen. If that prayer resonated with you, type Amen in the comments right now. And if you made it all the way to the end of this message, that tells me something about your spirit. You are hungry for truth. You are ready for more. You are not satisfied with surface-level content. And I am so glad you are here. Before you go, do 3 things. First, subscribe to this channel. More revelation is coming, and you do not want to miss it. Second, share this video with someone who has been feeling invisible. They need to hear that their small acts of kindness are creating ripples they cannot see. Third, leave a comment telling me which witness story hit you the hardest. Was it Elena, Robert, Michelle, Jason, Shanice, Patricia, Marcus? I read every single comment, and your engagement helps this message reach more people who need to hear it. Until next time, walk like you know you are on assignment. Love like you know it matters. Show up like you know someone is watching, because someone is. And his name is not David, his name is God. And he sees everything together. We rise toward the light.